Okay, good morning guys, or good afternoon whenever you're baking. Today we're going to be cooking plain scones that we're going to fill with jam and cream. So as you can see, I've got my ingredients laid out. I've measured out all my flour, my butter, my milk. It's always wise to do this just before you start because it makes things easier as you go through. Okay, I've got the recipe in front of me and I've got the list of ingredients that I need there as well. If you've got some blue tack, pop the recipe up on the cupboard and then you can follow it as you go through. Okay, so the ingredients that we have here is 350 grams of self-raising flour. We're going to need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so we will need our teaspoon, a teaspoon of baking powder, 85 grams of butter that's been cut into cubes. I've kept that in the fridge to keep it nice and cool. A tablespoon of caster sugar, 175 millilitres of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a squeeze of lemon juice. We use the lemon juice because it sours the milk a little bit to taste a bit like buttermilk, and this will help to boost the raisin agents in the flour and the baking powder. We've got an egg that's been beaten, ready to glaze the top. We've got some flour here ready with a cutter, a bowl for mixing in. I've got a knife to start mixing it through, rolling pin, and you'll need a baking tray. Okay, so you're going to set the oven to 220 degrees. If you've got a fan oven, it's 200, and if you're cooking on gas, it's gas mark 7. Okay, so we're going to start making our scones. We're going to tip the 350 grams of self-raising flour into a bowl. Okay, going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so just really a good pinch. We're going to need a teaspoon of baking powder, make sure obviously that your hands are clean, washed and everything beforehand. You're going to just give that a quick mix before you add your butter into there, because the last thing that you need is a great big dollop with all the salt on or all the baking powder on. So just give that a quick mix through. You add your cubed butter, and we need to rub in with our fingers until the mix looks like a fine crumb. Okay, so as you're lifting the flour, you're going to squeeze the butter down into the flour. Just keep moving it around, and just with your fingertips, you're not using your whole hand, literally just you're doing that with the butter and the flour. This is going to take a bit of time, but it's worth it. Okay, try not to keep squeezing the same bit of butter, because what you want is all the butter cubes squashed into the flour with your fingertips to make fine breadcrumbs. Because that butter is cold, it is going to be quite hard to rub. You just need to keep working it with your fingers, keep moving it around so that the flour is moving in with the butter, the salt and the baking powder. You can see that I've only got a few little bits left now of butter in there. Keep moving it around. Should be able to feel if you've got any lumps of butter still left in there, and just keep doing it with your fingers, rubbing it through. So with your thumb you're kind of rubbing it against your fingertips with the flour to try and break it down. It's the only bit that you may need a little bit of help with, but it is good exercise for your fingers, good exercise for your hands. Okay, so we've got that to fine breadcrumbs. Okay, just get the butter and the flour off my fingers. Into this we need 3 tablespoons of caster sugar. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and again we need to give that a bit of a mix so that we've got the sugar mixed through the flour and the butter. Okay. Okay. The next bit that we need to do is the milk that we have. We need it to be lukewarm. So the best way of doing this is, if you've got a microwave, is popping it into the microwave for about 30 seconds. You just want it warm, you don't want it hot, so you just want it warmed up. Okay, so once you've got that sugar mixed in, so the milk's been in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to warm it through. Into this I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a little squeeze of lemon juice. Put that to one side. Okay, and back to your flour mixture. You are going to make a little well, so a hole in the middle. You're going to pour the mixture in. Okay. Then you're going to use your knife to start combining all those ingredients together. You can see it's quite doughy, it's quite wet at the moment. You just keep mixing it in. This seems really strange to me because I would normally have my hands in there mixing that all together, and if you find it easier using your hands, then do so. The idea is not to overwork the dough too much, because you're going to start knocking all the air out and over handling it. We'll just make the dough a little bit harder so they won't rise as well. Right, so you can see that that's all come together. Okay. Okay, now we come to rolling out the scones. So a little bit of flour on your work surface. This will help it obviously not to stick. You've got your butter, got your rolling pin. Just make sure that you've got some flour on the rolling pin. Take the dough out of the bowl. You may need a little bit more flour, and that's fine. You'll know if it's sticking, you'll know just to add a little bit more, but you want it quite soft. Okay, you're going to fold it like you would if you were doing bread, just to get a little bit more of that flour into there. Okay. push it together into a ball and just press it down. Because it's really soft, you shouldn't even need to use a rolling pin, but if you want to just make sure that the top is obviously flattened, you can. Okay, your pastry cutter, and this should make 8, but that's using a 5cm pastry cutter. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Take your dough. You can see they're quite thick. I've kept mine to about, I don't know, a couple of centimetres thick. Obviously you can make them what size you like, and you can make them what thickness you like. Again, just pat the dough back into a ball, cut out some more. So I think we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to make 9 today. Obviously I've rolled mine out a little bit thinner than normal. So I've got another one. Just keep going until you've used all the dough. I get 10. The boys aren't going to like it because they're a little bit smaller than normal, but never mind, got more, haven't they, to have the jam and cream in. Got a little bit left, and I never like to waste anything, so just push it into the cutter. This can be your one that you can trial to see whether they're cooked through, etc. Okay, turn it over and again, and that can be your little trial one. So if you know that that one is, you break it in half and it's cooked and it's lovely and firm, then you know that the rest of them are going to be cooked. Okay, we're going to get our warm baking tray out of the oven. Keep it warm because it helps just to start cooking the bottoms. Gently put the scones onto the baking tray. A little tester one in the corner there. Okay. Then you need a pastry brush, beaten egg, and you're just going to paint the tops with your beaten egg. So give them a nice golden topping. That was a bit of a pastry brush, not a human hair or a dog hair, just in case you were thinking. Go to IKEA next. I must get myself another pastry brush, I think. Okay, so get them all a nice coating of beaten egg. Give them some golden tops. Okay, so we're ready to pop them into the oven. So there you can see on some of them that they've got some little air pockets. That will be brilliant when they start rising up. It will fill them full of air, make them light and bouncy. Okay, so as you can see, mine are still quite thick, but they're probably because I've used a smaller cutter today that I've got more out. Okay, sometimes I use, so that's the one I've used today. Sometimes I use the bigger one, and sometimes I use the smaller one if we've got a few people coming over and I want the scones to go a bit further, then I'll do the smaller ones. Okay, get your cutters. You're going to pop these into the oven. You're going to bake them for 10 minutes until they've risen up a little bit further and that the tops are golden. So while they've been in the oven cooking, I've whisked up some double cream until it's forming soft peaks. Got some jam. I've had tidy up, washed all my bowls up and everything, wiped all the counters down. You can see that the scones come out golden brown on the top where we've beaten them with egg. Because we put them on the hot tray, they're nice and crunchy on the bottom. Inside, nice and doughy. So all you need to do now is put a nice dollop of cream on one side, and a spoonful of jam on the other. I can keep that still. And then you literally just pop the two together, and that is your cream jam scone. Okay, obviously you're going to do the others. I'm not going to do mine yet because if I do them, they'll get eaten straight away. So I'll let them cool down for a little bit longer and then put them together and put them into a tin. Obviously, because they've got fresh cream in them, you'll need to keep them in the fridge. I've also made some cheese scones today. So mine obviously look quite brown. Depends what colour cheese you use. So I used red Leicester, which is going to make them look browner. Again, nice and soft in the middle, and I've just buttered mine. Paprika is in there. If you don't like a peppery taste, then you can leave it out. If you like it a little bit more with a kick, then add a little bit more cayenne pepper than it says on the recipe. So the recipes for both of these, I've already put the jam and cream scones on. I'll put the cheese scone on. Also, because I had a few bananas that were going a bit overripe, made a banana loaf today as well. If you want the recipe for a banana loaf, it's really easy. You put it all in one bowl with the bananas, blitz it all up with a hand whisk or an electric whisk, and then pop it into a loaf tin, and it cooks for about an hour. So while I was making the cheese scones and the cream and jam scones, this was cooking away in the oven as well to make use of the oven. Also, a friend of mine brought some rhubarb round, so I've cooked the rhubarb up. That's ready for a crumble for later. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoy. Hope you love making these. Hope your family enjoy tasting them, and that they have fun and you have fun making them. Enjoy the scones, whichever ones you're making. Scones, if you call them scones. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.